Hello, everyone. My name is Kristofer Marr. I'm the Senior O&M Engineer and Site Supervisor at Grand Renewable Solar. And I'm here today just to kind of share my experience with trying to incorporate agrivoltaics at Ontario's largest solar farm. So this is Grand Renewable Solar. It's located in Cayuga, Ontario. It's about 800 acres, and it's 130 megawatts DC. And some other site facts. GRS has a site capacity of 100 megawatts AC, and it's comprised of 5 electrical zones at 20 megawatts each. The site roughly has 450,000 panels, 98,000 piles, and 130 800 kilowatt inverters. The 230 kV collector meets here for the solar and wind facility, and it runs about 20 kilometers down the road to Hagersville. And the solar facility produces enough energy to power 17,000 homes, will offset 162,000 tons of CO2, which is equivalent to taking 29,610 cars off the road. So this is kind of just my personal experience with agrivoltaics, and until just recently, I didn't even know agrivoltaics was even a word or a thing. But it started back in 2015 with a Kijiji ad for free pastures to graze. And someone reached out for goat grazing. It was interesting. I had my doubts, but the operator was really nice, and the goats were all rescues. So the idea made sense, and it seemed like a good idea. Give the goats a safe place to kind of regain their health and come back. They're very, very friendly animals to work around, to be honest, and that's one of our main concerns as O&M technicians, right? We were kind of scared of what we're going to be working beside. But it was a good experience, other than a couple facts. One, they like to jump on panels. So, that does scratch up the modules. They also would like to chew on the solar module wires, but I'll get more into that. That's more of a kind of an operation error. But unfortunately, due to operator error, there was only about 80 goats, and just let them vastly roam around. The grazing wasn't meeting the expectation. We were getting shading still, so we ended up shifting to the next project, which was haying. So some of the pros, we actually were approached by a farmer, local farmer who's been in the area for hundreds of years. His family's been, haying the land that the solar farm's built on. So at his request, we opened up the gates, provided him the necessary training and safety orientation, and that lasted until 2020. What was nice is the farmer has all the equipment, snow plows. He had his industrial spraying license, so other than just haying, we were able to get a lot of external services, which was good for both of us. He even pulled us out of the, when we get stuck between the rows in our trucks on a wet day. It was nice. But obviously some of the cons, and the reason we stopped was it's a fire risk. Having hay dry between the rows, excuse me, with electricity isn't really the safest thing. And the hay bales would also block the roads for the site team to get down for maintenance. And then one thing that wasn't really foreseen is the tick population exploded. We were getting, on average, 10, 20 tick bites a month, just the O&M team. And then, the biggest reason we kind of had to stop is mechanical cutting was still required, because the hay, I don't know the proper term for it, but it's what cuts the hay, wasn't able to get up to the leading edge. So we still had to run a bush hog down the row regardless. And it doesn't matter if you have a 15-foot bat wing or a 5-foot one, it still costs the same to run up and down the row. So we ended up stopping that. And the farmer agreed, because the hay quality wasn't really, it was subpar, because the original seed mix was not made for haying. And then that brings us to the success story, which was sheep grazing. Now, it didn't start off as success. I'll get into that in a minute. But what's nice about the sheep is they provide a very uniform vegetation control. The tick population drastically decreased, which is a huge plus. I don't know if that's due to the vaccinations that Laura Costa provides to their sheep for ticks, or just keeping the grass low, but I know the team really enjoys that. Sheep shearing, they do it right on site to sell for wool. I don't know if it's done monthly, but once a year. but they got that operation science down. And again, the Laura Costa, the contractor, can provide extra services such as industrial spraying. Like in the substation for electrical code, you need to have vegetation abatement protocols, and they help us out with that. And then another big thing that people don't realize, when you have lots of workers on site, it's an extra set of eyes, which we value a lot because we don't have drones that we fly over every day. It's nice when someone can say, hey, you have a hole in your gate in that quadrant, or a PV wire dangling. So it definitely helps out for our maintenance practices. And another huge plus is the sheep actually graze under the panels where mechanical cutting just isn't practical. Especially at Grand Renewable Solar, it's a double pile system that is too low for any kind of tractor. And to do that by hand with a weed whacker is just not realistic. So some of the notes, like the first sheep attempt failed, and I think that speaks to how important the operators are. The first gentleman we had brought in, I think, 100 lambs, let them roam free, just opened up the gate, let them roam free in about a 250-acre section, and about 10 of them were picked off by coyotes within a couple weeks. So then he brought in a llama, and I guess they protect livestock. The llama ended up just running to a quarter-acre section and just lived there. We never seen him. He didn't, and he wasn't very nice either. Like, you couldn't approach him. So at a last-ditch attempt, and this is, people don't believe me when I say it, I told him, listen, it's not really working. We still got to bring in cutting. So he brought in 2 donkeys, and they lived on the site. So we ended up pulling the plug on that. And then that's when we were introduced to Laura Costa, Gabriella, and Raphael, and they promised us a better operation. This is what you see here, and it's all about being organized, how to deploy them, and this is a huge success story here. So what this is, around the entire solar farm, as Kevin mentioned, there's a buffer around most solar farms, and it's a 5-kilometer-long berm, and it's about 10 feet tall. In some areas, it's like a 60-degree angle. It's impossible to cut by hand. So we tried robotic mowers. It worked for a bit, but the tracks would slip off or it'd get turtled on top of the berm. So Raphael pitched, I can do it with the sheep. And he did it. It worked perfectly. I was actually shocked that it went so smoothly, and I think you guys did in about a week.
No, 2 days.
2 days?
We took more because there was a neighbor there who wasn't sure, and then we did twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 2 or 3 days can be done.
Yeah, so it's been a real success story, and I'm excited to continue on. And then just one note is, I guess the point of it with sheep grazing is it's at this scale, it can't be done really by a hobby farm. You need a lot of sheep to meet, and you need to keep them moving, keep them busy, or else they're going to chew on the panels or chew on the wires. They're going to get bored. So I think the operator, like what Laura Costa has going on, is really what makes it work. And thank you.